Hello, this is going to go over a few more of the problems that you had in these screens on the Marbleslides activity. And also I wanted to walk through a couple of specific examples just so you can get a few more hints and that you're able to be able to complete most of the activity on your own after this. So if you feel really confident about it, then you probably don't need to watch this video, but you can use this video as a way of checking if you got the right answer after you completed this. So with the first one where it says to fix it, that's screen 2 in here. Apparently I needed to fix mine, and I knew I needed to fix it because for one thing, the marbles were going too slow to reach all the stars, and it just didn't make it in time. And also, I have on my own progress showing whether it is correct or incorrect. So for this type of equation, apparently it's not correct yet. This one here, we had it originally at x minus 5 for the exponent. And this one seems that this is going too far to the left over here. Apparently, if I change the values with x minus 7, x minus 8, x minus 9, and so on, it's getting it to move closer or further along to the right. So the correct one that it ends up being, if I keep on going, it's really close if I did x minus 17 as its power. But I think if I go one more, then it should be able to get all the stars here. And let's check if I click launch. And it does seem to go fairly slowly, but I think it will reach all the stars in time. Okay, great. So that's how you know that you have that screen correct, if it has that success icon. So notice that only one number needed to be changed. It was still 2 to some power, and we have x minus something, and in this case it's x minus 18. If I had it with 2 to the x, this was starting over here. That's its parent function. But if I did to the x minus 18, it's causing this function to actually move 18 units to the right. Okay, so we've used these kinds of transformations in the past before. You may be familiar with it there. So yeah, this one's causing it to just move 18 units to the right, and it's still the same function, just shifted. Okay, the next one over here. This one, the domain needed to be changed because if this marble is being released, it's not going to reach these stars over here. Another thing you may see is that this curve will need to be shifted upwards. And we've dealt with vertical shift, and that's having to do with the constant here. So it's at -1. If I had it without, then it's going to be at its original position, which is right above the x-axis. So if I do +1, then it's going to move up 1 unit from where it was. If I do +3, then it looks like it's going to be in line with the stars over here. I do need to change one other number. I need to change the domain. This one's going to -7. I could change this instead to negative. Looks like it stops over here at -14. Let's just do it right at -14. Okay, so then when I launch that, then I have all of the stars. Great. Okay, fix it number 3. Change one of these numbers here. So it looks like I have here that the stars are lined up a lot wider than what I have over here. So it looks like it is shifted up to a pretty good spot. It just needs to be a wider shape. So 2 is going to stay here. The +2, that's what changed the vertical shift. So we want to keep it there. We want to change this, and let's go ahead and experiment with that. Okay, so if I had 4 to the x + 2, it looks like it's actually getting steeper. So it doesn't seem to be going the way that I want it to. Maybe you're thinking that you want to use negative numbers in there. Well, if I did a -3 instead, actually it seems to be going upside down. It's reflecting at that point there, or reflecting, I guess you could say, reflecting across the x-axis. So we're not going to have a negative number in here. Let's keep on working with that. 2, it did get a little bit wider, not as wide as we want it to be. So if we keep on going, if I just do 1, that's not going to do much either. But that's actually giving us a clue that 2 is still too steep. 1 is definitely not going to show any steepness, but it's going to be the in-between that we're going to find that it'll have that kind of curve. So what if I did 1.1? Okay, so then you see over here that that's causing it to make it just a little, or really not steep at all, but just enough to make that tilt. Okay, so anything above 1 for your base is going to make that that curve. Great. Okay, and then this last one over here, so no hints as to how many numbers to change. We need to change the entire row if we need to in order to fix this. Notice that the stars are going in this direction over here, whereas this equation is making this curve in the opposite direction. So a little bit more experimentation with this too. We've already seen that doing a negative is going to make it reflect over the x-axis. I wonder what you could be doing in order to make it reflect across the y-axis. So we've already experimented before with using whole numbers here, and then we already noticed that as it gets as it increases, then it's just going to make it steeper. So we probably don't need to do that to change the numbers, at least as a whole number. We already know negative numbers are not going to do it. We've already seen before that doing something like just a little bit above 1 will make it wider. But actually, it looks like all you need to do is flip this across the y-axis. So maybe another thing that we have not done that could possibly make it reflect across the y-axis is instead change this into a fraction. So if I did say, I have 3 over 1, let's flip that and let's get the reciprocal of that. Let's get 1 over 3. Let's see what happens. If I do 1 over 3, oh, this actually does change it in its direction over here. So with 3 to the x plus 1, it looks like they are symmetrical to each other. So, but having it as a fraction, 1 over 3 is going to have it decrease in this way. Oh, I just made a mistake here. I should have taken this one out. Okay, but it should work if I take this out. Good. Okay, so you've seen there's a lot of different ways to experiment with these, a lot of things that you can change around in order to fix the marble slide, and there's going to be more of these along the way. Here's some predictions that you can make based on what we went over in here, and then there's a couple of challenges ahead after these next few slides here. Okay, so make sure that you're answering each of these completely and you do your best to get all of the stars in there, and do your best to complete all of the challenges as well over here after screen 15. Okay.